Hi growers, welcome back to Hydroponics Daily, your favourite stop for fresh insights on soilless cultivation. I'm Dr. Russell Sharp, and today we're diving into a critical topic that often slips under the radar in hydroponics, and that's dechlorinating your tap water, if you're using tap water, that is. So let's look at why it matters a lot for both your plant health and the soil biology, even in hydroponic systems. So soil biology, but also growing media biology, should we say. So let's start with the stark truth in that most municipal tap water isn't just plain water. It's treated intentionally with chlorine and chloramines to kill bacteria and pathogens. It's also fluorinated in a number of places. However, fluorine is not an issue for plants. It doesn't get absorbed through the roots, so we can ignore that. It's chlorine that we're really concerned about. It's good for drinking water safety because it kills off all the bacteria and pathogens, but for your plants, especially in hydroponics or living soil systems, not so much. So the problems it can cause, it can damage delicate root hairs, it suppresses beneficial microbial life, it disrupts enzyme activity, and it can lead to chlorine toxicity in sensitive crops if it's in really high amounts. So some plants that are especially vulnerable to chlorine exposure, this is a non-exhaustive list: lettuce, spinach, strawberries, avocados, grapes, and many orchids and tropical plants. But that's a non-exhaustive list. So these crops may show signs of stress even at very low chlorine levels. So you get leaf burn, slow growth in extreme cases. But the way you really find out whether your crop is sensitive to it is just do a treatment with and without chlorine. So you can treat it with either you've used RO water, that'll be free of chlorine, water that's been left for 24 hours, or water that's been dechlorinated. So that's how scientists look at the effect of with and without chlorine on plant growth. And it is significant. So when the studies are done, they do see a significant effect, which is surprising really, but it is. Geography matters. So in the United States, Las Vegas and parts of Southern California are known for particularly high chlorine and chloramine levels in the tap water, up to 4 parts per million or more, which is enough stress to kill microbes and sensitive plants. And in Australia, regions like Perth and Sydney are reported to have elevated chlorinated levels, while in the UK, the levels of chlorine are much lower, but still present. We've got a lot of water in the UK because it rains so much, and also the water in the system is lower temperature, so the microbial growth is less, so we don't need to chlorinate our water as much. In parts of India, Southeast Asia, heavy chlorination is sometimes used after monsoon season to combat contamination, which can linger in storage tanks. And so if you're growing in Southeast Asia, post-monsoon, you might have an issue with chlorine. So how can you get rid of chlorine in your hydroponic grow? The first one is just to let the water sit. For chlorine, it's simply letting your tap water sit for 24 to 48 hours allows it to evaporate off. That doesn't work for chloramine though. So if they're using chloramine in your area, that's not going to work. To speed that up, you could use an air stone to aerate the water and accelerate the off-gassing. However, sometimes you can't wait 24 to 48 hours to allow for your water before it hits the plants. So that's also a reason why you might avoid that. You can have activated carbon filters. So they filter out both chlorine and chloramine. And then, so look for a carbon block or a granulator filter. They also reduce heavy metals and organic compounds like pesticides. So always good to have a carbon filter, even if you're not in RO. And there are a number of products based on vitamin C, but they degrade over time. So you'll see them, they'll turn purple orange or dark brown as they oxidize, because it's an antioxidant, vitamin C, and so it oxidizes over time. And so that's why you can see it breaks down when it turns that color. You can use RO water, and you can use spring water as well, rainwater, but make sure it's clean, because you'll get things like Pythium rot that loves to grow in rain butts, things like this, where you collect rainwater off your roof. And then the other option is to use the dechlorinator. And the great thing about gold leaf, or is it called in the UK liquid gold, it contains dechlorination as part of its nutritional package and its options. So you don't need to worry about chlorine if you're using gold leaf or liquid gold. And then if you are not using them, but you still want to look for a dechlorinator, then Dr. Hydro dechlorinator is a good one in the UK. So why does it matter for soil biology? even if you're growing hydroponically, some systems like aquaponics, living hydro media, like living soils, they're going to require a good population of beneficial microbes. Think nitrifying bacteria, mycorrhiza, compost teas, phosphorus liberating bacteria. Chlorine will kill these and other allies before they get a chance to work. So if you're using biofertilizers, worm teas, microbial inoculants, adding chlorinated tap water is, setting you back. Okay, so you can test your tap water. You get something off the internet. You can get them off Amazon. They're called DPD tablets. Not sure if any grow shops stock them. If they do, fantastic, but they're fairly cheap. DPD tablets. You stick them in your water. If it goes pink, then you've got chlorine in your tap water. Use tap water that's come straight out of the tap, so you know before it's gassed off. And then if you add a good dechlorinator, it should instantly turn yellow or clear. So if you add gold leaf, liquid gold, it'll go instantly clear. And if you add a dechlorinator, it should do the same. So that's a good way to test it. As I say, you can aerate for 24 to 48 hours. You could look at a carbon filter and be extra cautious of leafy greens, tropical plants, fruiting crops that are more sensitive. And check your local water reports. Many local water companies will publish chlorine levels monthly. So look out for them, especially in the US, they do that. Possibly in the UK. So there you have it. One small tweak to your hydroponics is to remove chlorine. It can make a big difference to the health of your plants and the soil. It's an easy hack. It's on top of anything like biostimulants, additives, fertilizers, optimizing your grow room. It's an extra bump to yield that you can get, and it's the easiest one to do. And if you look at some of the dechlorinating agents, make sure they're sodium free. That's another important point, because you can get a lot that just contain sodium. They're based for industrial uses. So don't use them. Always make sure you're using a sodium free one. And it's an extra bump in growth for very little cost. So there's no reason why not to do it. The only reason you wouldn't do it is because you can't be bothered to. So let me know if you think this is of interest. If you do dechlorinate, if you've got anything else to add, any other ways of dechlorinating, I think they're covered though. Obviously, if you're in a recirculatory system, you don't need to worry about it as much. It's only when you add fresh water. But if you're running a run to waste, hand watering, anything like this, then you are going to have issues with dechlorination, even if you didn't know the chlorine was affecting your growth. Could be that one thing that just takes you over the edge to producing an extra special crop. Okay, until tomorrow, that's been Hydroponics Daily for today. Dechlorination.